Okay, Jenna love. We're on.
Yay!
Okay. Hi everybody. It's Dara and Jenna. And I'm going to post the link to our other videos below. We have at least, right?
We have two, no?
We have two.
Yes.
So I'll post those links below. And we've been waiting for this moment for a long time. We've been talking about this for months.
Yes.
Many months. And we're going to talk, Jenna's going to talk about human design. And how do we want to start?
Well, the last couple of times we talked about it, I was just
getting into it.
Getting into it. And so now my understanding of it is so much deeper than it was.
Right.
And to the point where I now can read charts,
right.
like full-on charts.
So, really, Jenna just grasped it like nobody's business, like some kind of download or, right? Like, really, like, I looked at human design is so very, very helpful to find out who we are so we can give permission to ourselves to be who we are and give other people permissions to be who they are so we can all work together beautifully. And we're going to get Jenna's insights on everything. But I want to say that Jenna came into it, like perched in my kitchen, said human design, and the way you delivered it was so much better for me than the way it was delivered to me many years ago. And it didn't resonate the way it was delivered. And this time I was ready, and Jenna came in with human design, and the bits that we've done together have helped me so much.
Oh.
Yeah, so much. So I was like, Jenna, I think you really this could be a thing.
Yes.
Like, this is...
Yes.
And then, like, the next day you were booked, like, all the time.
And, like, insane. You literally can open me.
I can't open.
Yeah.
I'm a can opener.
She's a can opener. A spiritual and energetic can opener.
It just would seem obvious. I'm like, you get this stuff. It's so complicated.
Yeah.
I would look at it, and it would be like, it would just look so complicated to me. And she was like, oh, it's this. And I'm like, this is your thing. This is one of your many talents. So Jenna is an inspiration, a total light being amongst the friends I've been lucky enough to know in my lifetime. This is tops, like totally trust this light being. And I will say that zero judgment. I don't know what you have zero judgment, and you come from such a light place. So.
Well, only because I think I have felt the thing that weighs most heavily on me is feeling judgment. And so, like, sometimes as a reaction, you kind of go out of your way to be the not thing of the thing that you've been taught is good, if it doesn't kind of, like, ring inside you. And so then what human design has taught me is about how important it is to accept people, because when you accept them, you allow them to be themselves.
Yes.
And then that's
and you're
how
not practicing judgment that's been so uncomfortable for you. When we're judged, we're uncomfortable. When we're judging someone, we're uncomfortable. So first, if you would, please, just tell, for those of many of our family members have gotten into human design after hearing you mention it.
The one we did in summer.
Yeah. So can you, for the people who have not heard, what is human design?
Okay. So it was discovered only 30 years ago, which is why it's kind of not as big of a buzzword as, let's say, like astrology or having other things read, like tarot, past lives, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Human design was only discovered in '87, so that's exactly 30 years ago, and it was kind of downloaded by a man who was in an 8-day meditation, and he just got this big download from the universe about a new kind of system, if you will, and it's beautiful because it basically is like reading your energetic body. So if you can imagine, if you came into this world and didn't have any conditioning influences around you from like your parents and society and schools and all these kinds of things, it kind of tells you who you would be without any of that stuff.
Without religion, without sitting in a classroom, without your parents telling you what to do. It's a combination of the I Ching, the Kabbalah, and astrology.
Yes, and the chakra system.
Yes. I'm going to make sure we're rolling. Keep talking.
So what's cool about it is it can tell you basically who you are when you're being authentically you. And so then when I'm looking at someone's chart, I can see where they've taken on traits or belief systems that aren't really the real them, and the stuff that is their gifts, their natural gifts, like the things that you have for a lifetime that no one can take away from you, no matter what people kind of tell you to be or not be or whatever. Like, these things are yours to own. So it's almost like when you look at someone's energetic body, it's like, this is the contract that your soul made with the universe of like how you're going to come into this life looking and feeling, and what your energy is going to be like, so that you can be your higher self. And so really being your higher self is not about reaching up to be this like this incredible thing that's like so far away from you. It's about just shedding the layers of like all the old false belief systems, all the old false conditioning, everything, and then
being who you are
yourself.
It's already there.
Yeah.
They say that like the answers are on the inside, and Jenna's going to help us get to them.
Yes.
It's just really amazing that you're doing this. So, so for example, the different types of people it's about identifying
the way that so there are 5 main types in human design, and the main thing is to do with, it tells you how to interact with the universe around you. Like what's the correct energy exchange between you and the universe. And when you're exchanging properly, you're being who you said you would be before you came into this material plane. You said to the universe, I'm going to do this, I'm going to be this is who I'm going to be, this is my commitment to you. And when you're aligned with your design, then you're being your higher self.
And then you're being your highest self, and then you meet other high selves, and then you get rewards beyond measure. Like the rewards are love. I would say love is the biggest reward. Connection to yourself.
Being happy with, like, just living inside your skin happy, you know, like no anxiety and chaos and crazy and confusion, which you just like are settled all the time. And also getting everything you want.
Right. Like the things we want. And
I always say to people, it's so funny, like, because when you're reading someone's chart, you know, and I always say, you know, tell me if you want like a specific question answered or whatever, and it's always about what people want to achieve in their life, like the things that they desire, the things they really want. And I'm always like, it's not an accident that you want the things you want. Like, that's your compass from the universe saying, these are things that you agreed to want for a reason, so go get them.
Go get them.
You know, if you want to be like the best engineer in the world, or if you just want a huge 7-bedroom house, or whatever it is, like whatever it is that you really want, just like go for it.
See, the desires are not bad. It's more, I would think, the obstacles we put in our way.
Yeah. Or the judgment of those desires.
The judgment. Okay, so first, everybody, let's just make a list of all the things we want. It's okay to want.
Yes.
Yes.
And if you truly want them out of just really wanting them, rather than thinking that you should want them.
Right.
Because that's what everyone in your family wants. Or
that's the conditioning you speak of.
Yes.
Okay.
And that happened to me as well, because I thought I wanted one thing because I wanted to prove something about who I was. And then when I really questioned it and broke it down and did my, like, you know, my deconditioning journey of human design, I realized that what I thought I wanted wasn't really what my soul wanted.
Nice to realize. That must have felt so good and so
with that.
Weird. It's got to feel so weird at first to realize, wait, what I thought I wanted. Some people wait, right? They work so hard to get what they thought they wanted, and they get there and they're not happy. We can avoid all of that. We don't have to spend our lifetimes trying to get something that isn't. It's up the wrong mountain.
Yes.
So
yes, and so then just like get to your mountain, the one that's only ever going to be yours. Like there's one that's waiting for each of us, right?
Right.
Like, why don't we go on our mountain? And then like the divine timing is at work, and everything's falling into place, and there's synchronicities, and there's, you know, all these different things, and the right things are being brought to you, and it's just the path of least resistance.
It really is. It's acceptance of yourself and saying, this is who I am, I'm going to act according to who I am, and then you get the blessing. So what you need is, besides obviously calling Jenna, before you would call Jenna or email her, what I'm saying, what you need, the only thing you need to know to know your human design, and you can look on mybodygraph.com or Jovian Archives, or there's some different free human design charts. You just need your birthday, your place of birth, your time of birth, and what if they don't have their time of birth? Is it still close?
It's difficult.
Okay.
And not because like it would change like 1 minute, like plus or minus, but that there's like, imagine it's like a portal of time, and so it might not change within 2 hours before that, but it might change. It might change a minute before that.
So there is a way. There are Western astrologers that can help you figure out your time of birth. They work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a little bit. It's a process, but it can be done. So the types, and this is so fascinating.
Yes.
Let's hear your
Okay,
take
so there
on
are
the
5 types.
Okay.
There are 5 types in human design, main energy types. Like obviously once you break it down, there's like so many different. I mean,
so many.
There's as many differences as there are people.
That's the part that made me cross-eyed. I was like, you do it. I'm like, you're so good at it. There's so much to it.
It's like literally, and the funny thing is that I was like always like, why don't I know more about this?
Yeah.
Like, it's so accurate and it's so good and it's so on point. And it's because it's so complicated that for me, the knowledge that was like in the books or online or whatever is kind of so academic and so kind of like, for want of a better word, a bit old and crusty and all about the kind of actually knowing. And I was like, there needs to be a way that it's communicated in like a heart way, in a personal way, like
in a digestible way,
in
a you're really good at demystifying it, right? Yeah. And bringing it to people. It's not this elitist academic thing. It's something that we need, just like we need good food and good air. We need information, and this day and age, how to be ourselves.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Which is probably why it only came to us when we needed it. You know what I mean? Rather than before, we probably didn't need it.
Yeah.
So you have 5 main types in human design, and basically the idea is that like there's no good and bad in human design. It's all good. Like exactly how you are is like perfect and amazing.
Right. Nobody's bad. So
there's no bad. And it's so funny because there is this thing of like when you tell someone about the types, our minds, obviously our egos automatically go for like, well, I'd rather be this one, or I wish I was that, or this sounds better than this.
Or like, darn, like the first time I heard it, you're so right. The first time I heard what I was like,
yeah,
like, I don't know. And then you're just stuck with it.
And now you can be happy that you're a projector.
Yeah, I can be happy I'm a projector because Jenna has a way of delivering why it's good.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be so careful. Let me just say that. Like, if you're going to do any readings with anybody, like, you just really need to know that they're a light being and that there's no agenda coming with. So there's no agenda coming with Jenna.
Yeah.
And I know that. Believe me, I know that. So it's really important who you choose because the words that people use, they land in your body. They land in your psyche. So they do. Just like McDonald's would or whatever. So we gotta stay clean, clear, and bright.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important.
Especially when it's so about
it's so
you.
It's so yeah.
You wouldn't want to be kind of led down the wrong path. Just like you wouldn't want to, like a bad workout instructor.
Yeah. Or someone telling you this food was good, but it's not, or whatever it is. It's just you want to be and surround yourselves with those with the utmost integrity.
Or people that just drive with your energy, right? Like, you pick it on, like, if it doesn't feel good, why would you listen to that?
Right.
Anyway,
so here we go. We could go on and on forever. We could and have.
So there are 5 main types in human design, and basically the idea is that we're in the perfect proportion of all those 5 types so that we as a collective can ascend higher. So when everyone is aligned with their design and being who they are supposed to be, by definition, everyone else is benefiting, right? So there's no good and bad because we need different parts of all. If we're one big tribe, we need different people to perform different functions.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, it's so exciting. Can't wait to hear what all these things are.
Yeah.
I already know.
So you have generators, which are basically people who are like, now I like to say they're like dancing life force. They're like life force energy. They make us human beings. Like without people who have a generator, that kind of like juicy vibe to their aura, that kind of lit upness, we wouldn't be humans. Like none of us would be creating energy. Like generators are the ones that literally like are life force in motion, right?
That's beautiful.
People, isn't that nice?
Yes, that's beautiful.
Well, so much nicer than calling them, like, I mean, generators can be so misunderstood because you think that they're just there to kind of like work and grind and hustle, but that's not the case.
They're workers. They can do the work because they have the juicy life force energy.
They have the juicy life force energy, but they have to be lit up by everything that they do, because if they're not, then they get frustrated and they burn out.
Okay.
So if, for example, you're a generator and you are working in, I mean, I'm going to make this cliche, but like say you're working in a bank, but what you really want to be doing is, being an architect, then actually life is going to give you the blessing of a burnout when you're working in that bank job, because it's saying it's not really what you desire.
Right.
And I'm going to try and pick you up off this wrong path that you're on and put you back to this architect thing. So as much as they can go and go and go when they fill it up, if they're doing something that they don't really desire, they're going to burn out because that's like a misuse of their energy, right? So with generators, the most important thing is to really honor your desires, and that gets so far into like, no is not a bad word. You have to feel like there's this gut kind of being lit up, because your gut usually calls the shots with a generator. It's like it has to be engaging. You have to be like, yes, otherwise you have to say no. And like, you know, desire is such a dirty word and it feels like it's selfish, it makes us feel like we're self-centered and whatever, but again, like desire is your compass.
Right.
Desire is saying, go this way.
Right.
It's a universal, like it's a download from the universe saying, this way, not that way.
Yeah.
So if you're like, yes, I want to do this, do it.
Desire.
Yeah.
Desire is a gift.
Such a gift.
It's a gift. It's a directional, navigational tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just like anger or sadness or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Directs you away from something, and the desire directs you towards something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so nice because then people who, for example, have told themselves all their life that they need to go to this party because that's what's expected of them.
You're supposed to.
You know, if your gut doesn't feel like going, then you have to not go. And you have to trust that maybe everyone else in the room is going to be better off that you didn't show up because you maybe weren't grumpy, because maybe they didn't pick up on your resentful energy for having been there. And there might be so many other outcomes that might happen, but just because you can't see what those outcomes are, you're saying, I have to go because that's what I normally do, or I have to go because I whatever, da-da-da.
Should, I have to show up, I'm expected, it's expected, I should go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about how they make decisions after. Okay, because there's what you are, and then there's different ways that you make decisions or ought to make decisions.
Right. So if you imagine that there's 9 energy points inside your human design.
We shouldn't talk about that yet, should we?
Well.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want to do like the points first?
It's kind of like everyone has an MVP that calls the shots.
Okay.
Which is how you make decisions.
So you want to talk the MVP, right? So there's an MVP and how you make the shots as a generator, and we can talk about each type and then do the MVPs, or you could do the type with the MVP.
No,
however
that's cool.
you want.
Let's do the type. So that's the generator, and then you basically have projectors, and projectors actually only 2
of them here.
Yeah, we're projectors. Basically, projectors only came into existence about 200 years ago in 1781, when, as a collective, as human beings, think about 200 years ago, right? And before that, we all came to this plane to learn how to survive. Like, it was all about how to get food, how to survive, how to stay alive. You would kill their neighbor if they had a cow and you didn't. It was much more about kind of pushing and fighting and blah, blah, blah.
A little more savage.
Yes.
Yes.
We were less developed.
Yes.
We were more primitive.
Yes.
So then 200 years ago, we kind of, let's say, passed the evolution. Like, we passed that test of learning how to come back just to survive. And it's like life said, okay, well, now you guys are going to be more emotional beings. You're going to be more developed. It's going to be more about the connection that we all have with each other. It's all about humane relations, right? Mm-hmm. So now we basically got gifted projectors, because projectors are there to, I almost say they're like the birds on the perch that can look down and see things in a different way. So they're there to kind of like guide and redirect energy.
Right.
So they either see, like, most projectors have like one big gift, so you can, as a projector, be able to see systems, you can be able to see patterns and trends, you can see into people, you can see human behavior in a different way. It's an added thing of wisdom that you get that you can't have without being a lighter being, basically like being a bird on a perch, right? So if you think about, like, my sister and I always say that the different types are like them, different animals, right? Mm-hmm. So the generators are basically like the panthers or the lions. They're just like doing and being and having fun and, you know, all these kinds of things. And as a projector, you're almost the bird that's sitting on the tree that can see, all the fun, but your job is to stay up there and see. You're betraying yourself if you're trying to go down there and be a panther, because you're not supposed to be a panther. You're supposed to be a bird. Right? So it's almost like, to preserve the gift that you have of seeing something in a different way from most people, you have to understand that you operate slightly differently.
Yes.
Which is that you can't go and go and go like the lions and the panthers. You have to be able to just say, I can see, I can go in, I can give my 2 cents when I'm asked, but then I have to back off. Mm-hmm. So it's
and I'm still part of it. You can't go away. We're not. Sometimes we want to just but we're needed, because we're needed to guide with what we see. We're able to see how to do things efficiently.
Right. And the most strong conditioning for projectors the wrong conditioning, let's say, is projectors that feel like they have to keep up with the rest of the world, and that they have to do and do and do, and they have to prove themselves, and they have to hustle, and they have to be tough, and
they have to sell themselves, and they have to invite themselves, and
and that can lead projectors down the entire wrong way, because they're not there to be the hustlers, and that can be very difficult to understand and very difficult to admit to yourself, like, okay, I maybe operate differently from the rest of the world. So anyway, they're sort of the more you decondition yourself and understand who you really are, the more your gift comes to you, because you're not blocking it with all this like white noise that isn't meant for you, right? So the more you can see, okay, I'm a projector, even if you can't identify with maybe what those gifts are, they'll come to you when you trust that the deconditioning is going to bring you closer to the gifts, right?
Yeah. Deconditioning is a major word in human design.
Yes, that's
it's
the whole
really
journey.
They say it could take 7 years. You know, it's just about the deconditioning process, undoing what's been done to get to the true core and your true way of being. And it's just really, as a projector, hearing it's a blessing to hear you have to wait, and sometimes it's hard to wait. And so what I say is, just sit back in the comfy chair, you know, or sit and draw, or sit and read. It's not like you have to do nothing.
No.
But
yeah, exactly. It's
we're supposed to be experiencing joy.
Yeah.
Like, go towards the joy or roam, as you say.
Yeah. And the more you work on doing the things that bring your vibe high, the more you align with high vibe things. So really all of our work, no matter what type you are, is about keeping your vibration high, so that you can attract the right things and you can realign with that divine path.
Yes.
So again, it's not about binge watching Netflix all day and giving up and just saying, okay, well, I'm
going
supposed
to
to
wait.
push.
I'm not supposed to work. I'm not supposed to do anything. It's not really bad. No.
It's like, let me work on my craft. Let me rediscover what I'm good at. Let me try and embrace that. Let me try and love myself.
Yeah. Let me journal. Let me see what it's like to not push or push myself into something. Let me see what it's like to wait for an invitation, and it actually takes a lot of thought or mindfulness to pay attention. Like, I might be, that didn't feel right. I tried to offer advice to someone who didn't ask. Like, we have to be invited. We know things, but we need to be asked, invited.
Yes.
So that's an important one. And you know what the energy feels like when you do something that's opposite from your design. The energy just goes, at least for me anyway. I know if I've offered something that hasn't been asked for, the energy just kind of like, it's like going into a wall and then dropping down. The energy just kind of goes boop, down, right? Like, it just kind of, it falls flat, and you're like, ooh, that didn't like go like a circle. But if somebody said, Dara, I know you know things, what do you think about this? And then I'm like, oh, think that. And then the energy just circles around, and it's happy, and there's flow, and there's no energy just flat on the...
And also, when you bang into that wall, it's like, that's life saying hello. Like, I take that from me now, is like, remember, you're not supposed to do this.
And that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what you're busy doing when you're deconditioning yourself. It's not like you just sit there. It's like it's active. It's an active deconditioning.
Yeah.
So
and it's always about doing it like as yourself, like being your own best friend through this and being like, this is gonna be fun. Like, there's nothing that can go wrong with this now. Like,
right. Like, oh, I offered that, and that didn't go very well.
Yeah.
Or how great it is, like, when you actually are aligned, and it actually is fun.
So much fun. And you know what's funny is that as a projector child, I was always called bossy, because I would see things and be like, you're doing this and da da da, and people don't want to hear that.
Me too. I was called bossy.
No way.
Yeah, my brother's like, you're so bossy.
Funny.
You think you're in charge.
Yeah, because we were volunteering, wanting things to work on our timeline instead of just sitting back.
He said, you think you know everything.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. I was like, I kind of do. Like,
yeah. So that's the main thing as a projector, is to understand that you can't try and prove yourself by how much of a doer and a hustler that you are. And that doesn't mean to say that you can't get stuff done in this world. I mean, Obama was a projector.
Right.
You know? It's about using the energy correctly, so that, for example, I don't know him, but if he was using his energy correctly, for example, I'd imagine that he would be guiding people and directing people rather than doing everything himself.
And he looks like he guides and directs. We're still good. So it's just so cool.
It's so cool.
It really is. And I will say that one of the things you told me is that projectors, nothing's better than when they're recognized.
Yes, they need to feel recognized.
In a relationship, when you're recognized, like, you really know stuff, or wow, I really value this thing and this knowing or this seeing or your efficiency, expertise. It feels so good.
So if you know a projector, then the best way to improve your relationship with them is to always kind of let them feel like you see them, because the thing about projectors is that aura, it sees into people. It's like a one-on-one aura. So if I'm a projector and I'm seeing you, I'm really seeing into you. So it can be difficult because I lose myself when I'm seeing you. So I need you to see me.
Ooh, that's so good.
So it's a really nice thing for a projector to feel like, oh wow, I see you. Like in contrast, the generator has this big, open, juicy aura that welcomes in many people at a time and is so attractive. And when it's high vibe, it's like a magnet, like brings people to it, and people just want to be around that generator because that life force just feels good, and it's like you want to drink off that sap, and you're like, oh wow. You just like
because it feels it's exciting.
It's heaven. When it's like someone who's living it properly, you're just like, oh, such a nice aura. Like it's so sparkly and juicy, and you know. So then you have manifestors who are basically they're like the trailblazers of this planet. They're
world leaders
to create movements.
Yeah, the trailblazers, the mavericks, the world leaders. They have the ideas.
Yeah, and I feel sorry for manifestors actually, because one of my very close relatives is one, and it can be the hardest thing as a manifestor to understand that you are there to act on your urges.
You can act and ought to act on your urges. Think about you,
So not approval of other people around you, not what other people think.
Do you guys hear that? For those of you manifestors, this is huge, to really not care what other people think, because 50% of the people are going to like you and 50% are just not. They're not, as Jenna says, getting on your train, so who cares what they think? Leave them
behind.
So
your manifestors aura,
they want to be liked. They want to be liked.
They need to be. They want to be liked by everyone. And so they can spend their whole lives.
So we're
trying to
shoot for 50%. I'm like, just shoot for 50%. Good. 5 out of 10. No, I'm only kidding.
So manifestors basically, when they're not living their real self, they can try to please everybody. And they can waste their whole lives trying to be a people pleaser or get approval from other people, or wait until someone else tells them you should do this or this is good for you, rather than recognize that they are there to be self-authoritative. I mean, you know, just doing what they do. And if you think about a manifestor's aura is selective. So if a manifestor is really living like a manifestor, say I'm a manifestor and I want to do...
Hold on a second, we have a little airplane action.
Say that I want to
speak over it.
Say I want to start a project and I'm a manifestor. There will be some people that will say, yes, I want to be part of this project. And me as a manifestor, I'm saying, I'm going to do this project. That's the manifestor. It's like, boom, I'm on this, I'm starting this, I'm creating this movement. This is what I do, I'm here to initiate. So I might say, this is what I want to do. And you might say, yeah, oh my god, that sounds great. Like, let me just get on your train. Exactly. Like, let me help you with this, or let me do this, or I'm behind you, or I'm on this movement.
I can do this part, or you. Go in this person will help, and
Or just I think it's an awesome idea. That's simple, right?
Right.
That's an energetic getting on someone's train. But then there's also some people who will say, oh, that's a terrible idea. Oh, well, who do you think you are to do that? Or that's never going to work. Or da 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 da. And what we need to realize is, if you're a manifestor, is you need to realize that people aren't, collectively, most people aren't in such a high vibration understanding or high vibration consciousness to say, that's just not for me, but I totally get that that's your urge, and go do it. So right now, it looks like rejection, it looks like judgment, it looks like, because people can't often say, it's just not for me. But you go do you. People often say, it's easier to say, that's a load of rubbish. So don't do that. You know? Or who does that person think they are? And how can they be so bombastic and whatever? Because the manifestor has such a big aura that's so impactful that it is going to impact you for the better or for the worse, whether you like it or not. So if I'm a manifestor and I walk into a room, you're either going to love everything I'm about, or you're going to feel this kind of weird, like, repel thing going on.
Because you're just not getting it.
Because you're just not getting it.
That's it.
But then that's the universe at work saying, I'm going to send you the people that should be on your trip.
It's choosing your team. It's like a natural
For
selection.
you. For you. It's the best.
Yeah. I imagine that as a manifestor because a manifestor has to decondition what their parents tried to do, because every parent tries to control a child to not jump in the street or not to do this or not to stay up too late.
Yes.
So it's a beautiful thing
that.
if you can learn. Yeah, I do. If you can learn what your child is, then you can learn how to be with them.
Yes.
And still protect them, but not try to control them. And you told me that certain types like to control the manifestor, a generator.
Yes.
So the generator parents need to be careful
about trying to control a manifestor, because the greatest kind of like egoic control pleasure in terms of energy types.
For parents and not parents. This is for anybody.
For everybody.
Like, yeah.
Like people get high off controlling a manifestor because the manifestor does have that big energy. So if you're a manifestor, you have to almost, like, the best thing you can do for a manifestor if you really love them is just let them feel like they can just go and blaze whatever trails they want and be as big and as just unashamed as they want. And
to have their wild dreams and to do, and their ideas, and manifest their ideas. So as a parent of a manifestor, it would be, and has been, really good to say, you know what? You're really, really wise. Like, you know, I used to tell Jada when she was little, and I didn't know any of this, but I was like, there's something inside of you that knows. So I don't really care what mom says and dad says. You need to listen to that voice inside of you. I told her it was a superpower, and I didn't know she was a manifestor, but I'm like, honey, I gotta tell you something. You have a superpower. You know, you're like a superhero, and you know. So if it doesn't feel right, if it feels right in you, it's right. If it doesn't feel right, no matter what anybody says, please consider.
Don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is you cannot tell a manifestor what to do.
It's bad.
It's so bad. And like, it will either manifest as like, that's how they come out and they're just super rebellious and they push everyone away.
They'll push you away just because, like, just,
Or they're just like this dampened, like, you know, you crush somebody like that.
Yeah.
You know, you just lead them to just want approval from everybody because you teach them that's how to move through this world.
Right.
And they're not supposed to care.
Yeah. Yeah, and I kind of celebrated. I remember thinking, gosh, she's got such a good view on people. And I'd be like, if you don't like them, you do not have to like them. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So
it's so interesting. And my sister, who's a manifestor, I always say this to her. I'm like, if people love you and when they don't like you, you celebrate equally, because it means, yes, I'm showing up as my manifestor.
That's great.
I'm splitting opinion. This is awesome.
I'm splitting opinion. This is awesome. That's really,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Like, people have
that's like world leader stuff, you guys.
Yes.
It's like manifestors are here to trailblaze. Like, I don't even think we can say the importance of that.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
Like, all the people that were kind of like, I mean, traditionally in terms of the tribe, the manifestors are the leaders, in the sense of they're the ones that will start the movements, create the wars, like, tell everybody what to do. It's
like the generals and they're not there, like, they're not the ones, like, they're like just saying do this, this, and this, but they're not like
they're like,
the
we're gonna do this,
and they're like they're the ones, they're really like the leaders, like the generals, and the so we've got, it's so fascinating. So far we've got generators who have this juicy life force, and we need their energy. There would be nothing without that. There would be nothing done in this world, and they're juicy and they get things done, and so cool. And we've got the projectors, the birds up in the tree looking down to hopefully be able to help people if you put yourself in the right position to guide without pushing yourself and blah blah blah. You wait, and we get to suggest efficiency and knowledge. That's and we're needed. And then there's the manifestors, who are really needed, because we are ushering ourselves into a whole new era. It's needed. We're all needed right now. We're really needed. So if we understand each one, so now we're up to the manifesting generators and then the reflectors.
So manifesting generators are basically like the hybrid for the new era, because you have a combination of both energies inside you, which means you have the manifesting energy and you have the generator energy.
So you both.
So you have both inside you, meaning that everything you have to do in life, you have to be like the generator, be lit up by your desires.
So, okay, I'm sorry. Everything you do in life, you have to be lit up.
Yes.
Like a generator. Okay.
So as an energy,
so manifestors don't need to be lit up the same way.
Well, lit up in the sense of like, I mean, everybody needs to feel like so happy with their life, but
Right.
it's like with generators, you get that gut response,
Like a
oh,
glow,
yes.
almost like there's like something glowing in their belly kind of
Yes.
thing. That's how I see it. Like there's like a
Yes.
glow. Okay.
It's like, yes, I want to do this. My desire is to do this.
And then they're off doing it.
Yes.
It's delightful. I've worked with many generators, and I miss like I need that energy to.
It's the
so
best
great.
to be around when they're generators
Yeah.
lit up. You're like, oh.
Yeah, I'm like, yay, we're doing stuff.
Energy. It's so fun.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like as if you're a projector and a generator's lit up, it means you can like temporarily go get on their shoulder and like have fun, and then go back
on the parakeet perched
Yes.
and like have fun, and then go back up to your tree.
Yeah.
And the manifestors, the projectors love because like.
So the manifestors, when they're living their real self, it's like you see like real change in the world, the way the world is like structured in emotion. It's like amazing because they will get an urge, and if they're listening to their design properly, if they're being real manifestors, they will just run out the door and do it, and you're like, oh, this is so fun.
It's magnificent.
It's amazing.
It's a magnificent sight.
It's
I've
initiation, like pure initiation, without needing any of the rest of the world to co-create with you. It's like just you and the universe.
It's powerful.
Running out of the door and going. The most important thing for a manifestor, though, is to inform people around you about what you feel like doing, about your urges. Because manifestors will come across as shady when they're trying to please everybody. They will sometimes hide, and they'll sometimes, instead of running out the door and telling people, they'll sneak out the door.
Because I read that they don't want to be dissuaded from what they're intending to do.
Yes.
So they don't want to hear somebody saying that's a bad idea because they want to do it.
Yeah.
But actually, if they say, I'm informing you that I'm going to do this, they have no resistance.
No.
They don't get the resistance they think they're going to get,
No,
right?
because
Or hopefully they don't.
Because all I want from a manifestor is to feel included in whatever movement they want to do.
Yeah.
If I feel included,
Yeah,
then
then you're
it's
part
great.
of it. Yeah, they didn't just leave you out the door. You're
Yeah.
part of it. Like,
Yeah.
then you can.
I want to be on this. I want an invite to this train.
Right.
And if I don't want to
Right.
get on the train, at least I want to feel like I was
invited
told that
to
there was
the
a train
party.
leaving. Yeah.
To the manifestor party, to
Yeah.
that big thing that's about to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's important to, as a manifestor, inform people about what your intentions and your urges are so that people can feel included. Otherwise, as a manifestor, you'll be told that you're secretive or shady, or that people don't know what's going on in your life, and you're like, your loved ones will be like, why don't you tell me what you do?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on, and I don't know you, and what's going on, and you feel like there's like secrets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's difficult, I think, as a manifestor, because you will be met with rejection. And hopefully one day it won't be rejection, because everyone will understand how we work better together.
Yeah, that's the whole point why Jenna's going to be doing this nonstop. So she's going to bring it to the forefront so we can say, you're a manifestor, great. And now we've got some generators, and now we've got some projectors, and we can do this movement. We can work better together.
Yes.
Um,
So as a manifesting generator, it's you're a hybrid for the new time, because you at the same time have the generator energy in you, which is like that gut telling you what lights you up. But you also have this manifesting energy, which is urging you to just start something and run out the door.
right.
So the difference is the urge bit, the manifestor bit, is quick. It just goes. The generator is sometimes a little,
It needs time?
yeah.
Okay.
It needs to just say,
It.
how do I feel about this?
Yeah.
Am I lit up by that?
Right.
Like, wait until I feel like it's a hell yes.
So the manifestor's quicker, like this is it, and the generator, okay. So
The generator has to kind of like, you know, I'm gonna wait until my desire feels lit up, and then I'm gonna move.
So, like any superhero, there's there's some things to deal with your powers, your superpowers.
Yes. Oh,
you know, you got some.
I
You
love
can't use it too
that.
forcefully or too fast. You gotta
Yes.
take a minute, be mindful with yourself, and then use your superhero power.
Yes, exactly
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And so the thing with MGs is that they feel this conflict inside of them, because on the one hand, they have to go out the door and run and do their thing, but on the other hand, they also have to wait until their desire feels like they want to do it.
Right. To make sure. Yeah.
So there's this off timing thing where you have two authorities listening, like to listen to.
Yes. Yes. And now I'm picturing a couple that I know. Yeah. They want to jump and do it.
And then
We
they
have a
to
dear
wait.
friend, and who she wants to just go. She wants to do it. She's a manifest. She can change the world. I'm quite confident.
Yeah.
And she has the energy to do so, but she has to back it up to be the Buddha as well as the warrior. The warrior wants to just go, and the Buddha's like, wait, let's have a moment here. And so she's in that
kind of funny place.
It's a beautiful place, but because what happens is if you go the wrong way and you're going too hard, too long, too fast in the wrong direction, you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
And that's where people get adrenal fatigue, and they're getting thyroid issues and hormonal issues because we're burning out too fast over things that are not right for us. And that goes for all the types.
All the types. When we're not living our design, we get the gift of a burnout, which is like the universe being like, hey, remember you.
Also, repression and depression, like you're repressing who you really are, and repression leads to depression. So this is really all about taking away what isn't us so that we can just
be us.
Yeah,
and
great.
You know, the funny thing is that being you is then the easy part. The hard bit is the getting rid of the layers, and then you're like, oh, how all of a sudden did it get so easy to be me?
Yeah.
Oh, it took, and then you can look back and be like, oh, it took no effort. Then you have to be like, no. It took a lot of work.
I had to say, that's not mine, and that's not mine. You did remind me. I was like, I don't know, I'm just coasting. You're like, no, you have
not coasting.
Not been coasting. And then she just like, this, you did this year, that this year, this happened, that. I was like, yes, I've been rather busy.
Yeah. It's hard to remember.
I've been removing, you guys know, I've been removing belongings. I've been removing business things that don't line up. I've been removing and removing and removing so I could sit here as a projector and
wait for the invitation.
Pretty much.
Wait to be invited. And as a generator, you know, wait to be lit up before you go.
Yeah.
And as a manifester, don't freaking wait. Go.
So look at these visuals. Like I'm sitting here like waiting for a beautiful invitation. I have my candles and my roses and my crystals, and I'm living my beautiful life, and I'm waiting for an invitation. And then a generator is like waiting for their inner to glow, like a battery, like a beautiful glow on the inside. I don't know what color yours is, but there could be any color you want. And then the manifester, they're waiting for the idea, the urge.
It's like a divine urge.
Yeah.
It doesn't come from. It's not like sparked by the world around you. It's just like, I feel like doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool.
It's so cool.
It's got to be from where, who knows, but it comes, and it deserves its proper attention because it just does. We're in need of some serious changes.
Yes.
So then we have
so the MGs. They're manifesting generators.
The superheroes that need to manage their superpowers.
Yes, and the thing about them is that they have to, and I say the best thing for an MG is you have to listen to both, listen to the urges, but also listen to the desires. And sometimes you'll act on an urge and then only to discover halfway in that you're not so into it.
Yeah.
So what you have to do is reserve the right to change your mind at any given time.
And that's beautiful. You can say, right, I'm going to go forward, but I am going to reserve the right, and when if this doesn't feel right, I'm going to rescind. And that could be contractual, it could be a verbal agreement, it could be a verbal agreement with yourself. That's beautiful.
And not what people will say to an MG is like, you know, you start so many things and then you give them up.
Right.
That's very common as well, because MGs, they have this very dynamic, like they want to start a million projects, they want to do so many things. And they can. But the second they lose interest, they have to say no more and not judge that as being a failure just because they didn't see it to the end.
Right.
And that's what society will say.
To
MG kids. Like, why don't you stick to doing one thing? Like you're all over the place. Like that's the other thing.
I'm good at guiding people to let go of the things that aren't serving them, because if your heart's not there, you gotta go. Like it's just you let it go.
Yeah.
You have to let it go because the heart, the energy has to be there. So
but people will say to MGs, "You're all over the place." And they, you know, come onto this track.
It's great.
And you can't do that to an MG.
No, they can get a lot done. I see their like energy spreading out, and they have the energy to do all of the things that they want to do. Yeah. It's quite brilliant. They're
like what do you call them? Duracell bunnies. You know what I mean? And they can just like do everything. But it's meant to be this like playful energy between, I like this, my gut's here, I don't like that, no more, let's abandon this, let's do this.
And that's okay.
It's cool.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Well, there's some people that kind of get left in the, I was waiting for you to finish this project. They may pick it up again at some time. Yeah. It doesn't mean that it's over. Just because they've, so cool.
And also if someone's pissed off that you didn't finish it, like maybe that's the best lesson that they're going to get. You know, maybe their life is going to be better because you had to not.
You introduced an idea and then didn't. Maybe it wasn't meant to be.
You just never know how stuff's going to play out.
No. But getting mad at anybody for being who they are is borderline absurd.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like now I can say, knowing these, I could be like, oh, you're being a manifester, you're being a generator, and I'm being me. And someone being mad at me because I need to rest would be absurd, just like it would be mad at me upset with them because they have to go all the time.
Or they have to change their mind.
Yeah.
Or they can bail on you. Like, it's totally okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah. I have an MG friend, and she always says yes to everything she does. Like, everything you ask her, do you want to come to this? Do you want to... Small stuff, like, do you want to go to dinner? Do you want to come to a movie? And she'll always say yes, 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 yes. And that's obviously coming from partly her need to say it's good to say yes to everybody. But then she changes her mind because the gut is like
Flares
slower.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so now, instead of being frustrated at her for being like, she always, you know, she's rejecting me or she's bailing on me or whatever, I'm like, oh, that's just
so cool, right?
that she's
that her, it's almost like her manifestor said yes, and the generator dimmed, the light went a little dim, and it's like, that's not really the direction. Why, if you love someone, would you want them to be there if they're not supposed to be there?
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be around you if you wouldn't want to be there anyway.
That's why Jen and I always like, if we get to, we usually do just happen to come together in light, but if there was ever a moment where I said, Jenna, it's not right for me right now, there would be like not even a second hesitation.
No.
I'm going to show you, I'm going to look at the battery, and we're still on. We have a 45-minute video.
Awesome. Oh my goodness! Oh, we haven't even got over. They're like the two birds. Oh my god, that's crazy.
Yeah.
How funny is that? I've never seen this pillow before.
It's so cute.
It helps to talk about them like animals. That's so fun.
We're perching, and we're
yes.
So yeah, this is so cool. So then there's the one other type.
So then you have reflectors,
which is really rare. We met one. We both met the same one.
No. And they're really like unicorns. Like, I like to see a reflector. You're like, oh my god! If a reflector is like living their design,
like
you're like
an elf or a fairy or a unicorn or a
It's insane.
Yeah.
Because basically reflectors are the most open and receptive people to the world around them. So they take in everything and they almost have no, and again, this is where it can be hard for a reflector because you realize that you have no definition of your own. Your own essence is so kind of misty and murky.
Yeah.
And it's so dependent on the world around you. It's not like,
so you're
I'm
literally
like
me. Right, not trying to be you. It's not defined. It's undefined and reflecting like the energy that's around them. Like I can't
misty. It's like a misty aura. It's like
mystical, magical, misty.
Yes, but the biggest difficulty for a reflector is, you know, feeling that they need to be something or be different or be a certain way because that's the way we define ourselves as human beings. Like as a reflector, you almost have to be like happy with just being this kind of like floaty, roamy energy that's basically here for the collective to almost be like a reflector, like a mirror, showing people what's up.
I imagine they would be very good reflectors. They would be very good in reflecting what's going on in your life and tapping into ways what you're doing. I mean, I imagine they'd be the psychics or the intuitives or the card readers, the tarot readers, and the those kind of workers where they can. They're feeling what you feel. They see what you see.
Well, because they have nothing of their own that's blocking them from feeling you. So if I'm a reflector, I'm in your energy. There's nothing that's blocking me from just being.
Didn't you say I have reflector energy for? So there's different ways. So there's who you came in as. It's like your sun sign. It's who you came in as a soul into this lifetime. Then there's also she does progress chart. So it's like who you are. Yes. So it's like your natal chart in astrology, and then there's a progress chart because there's things going on right now that are affecting who I am. So they're making me behave like some other types, which is like so trippy, so trippy. I'm like, why am I so emotional? I'm a non-emotional, and why, this and that. And then, so then there's this other thing that you said that's and we don't need to get it, this could be another video, but where you have,
your soul is a certain energy.
Right.
And you have a reflector soul.
Right. So Jenna can find all this out for you.
It's super cool.
I cannot.
It's super
Don't
cool.
ask me. No. But I mean, I'm reading about it, and I find a little bit out about it each day because I like to be able to discuss it with Jenna because it's so fun. And I like to know. But it's fascinating. So you can know what your soul is, who you came here to be, and what's going on in this particular moment in time, so that you can navigate beautifully.
And just listen to what's going on inside the body, because the body knows so much more than the mind and the intellect about how we should be living. Like our bodies will tell us everything if we listen to our design.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the time when I met that reflector.
Yeah.
And he was a reflector who knew what he was, and he was living his design. And
he worked at this beautiful, I'm not going to say which store, but a beautiful metaphysical store. And he fit in so well.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
And he pulled me aside. I said, oh my God, you're a reflector. Please tell me, like, share me your wisdom kind of thing. And he, without knowing me from anybody, gave me the most, I mean, it changed my life.
Yeah.
That advice.
Yeah.
And the timing of it and how he came into my life. And he was someone who was so detached from having his life have to adhere to any path. Like, he doesn't have desires
an
of his
agenda,
own, or have an agenda, or have an idea of who he is. So he's just free to be this dragonfly that even I, as a bird, can be like, oh, I want your light. Like, where are you? Let me come, like, get this dragonfly energy of yours. You know what I mean? And so then he just, like, gave me his wisdom, and then that was that.
I wonder where he is.
I
need to
know,
find him.
I know. We need to
Yeah, he's
this
really
dragonfly.
sweet. We need to find the dragonfly. Oh gosh, we need. Isn't this so exciting? Are you guys right now like online looking at mybodygraph.com to see what you are? Like, we want you to know what you are. I always want to know what people are. When I meet them, I'm like, I want to know what they are. It helps me to relate.
So much. That's the thing. Is like
Helps me to
relating
relate
to each other. The most beautiful thing.
Relationships are why we're here. It's for love. And how do we get to love? We all work together beautifully. We connect eyeball to eyeball. We understand. We have tolerance. We have love. We don't have fighting. There's no need for fighting. No.
And if we recognize everyone for who they are and what they're meant to do, then there's no like need to make you like me, or for me to make myself be like you, or for me to compare,
or me to make you feel bad so I can feel good, or anything like that. It's just simply not like that. It's just simply like, oh, that's how you operate.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're all needed to operate like ourselves, so that we can together go higher. Like the tribe can go higher. So much nicer.
So much nicer.
I mean, my goal with this is to get so much awareness to what it is that you can ask someone what type they are, just like you'd ask them what their astrology sign is, and people would know. Even if they know nothing else, if they just know their type.
If you just know the type, and that's gonna help everybody so much. I think you're gonna do it. Jenna's gonna, because you have such a way, Jenna has such a way, you have such a way that makes it so kind of soft and non-judgmental and appealing and current and fresh and of the moment. It's not stuck in some crusty little video that you're like, I can't listen to this, or it's like, wow, I want to know more. So you have a beautiful delivery, a beautiful, beautiful way. I can't think of a better person to introduce this to many, many, many people.
Thank you.
And to, I think your words are impeccable. Your words are impeccable, and they're beautifully chosen, and they're of the highest order. And that, just like I'm particular about what I eat, I'm very particular about who I am communing with, but super, super particular about who reads from me, because the words need to be of the highest integrity, and you have that. So,
and I think you need to almost get someone who will treat your like inner self with such a like delicacy.
Yes, that's what
you know
do.
What I mean?
That's what you do.
That's how I want people to be towards me. It's like, it's the way you are too. It's like you would never say something that you would know would offend someone just to make your ego feel better, or to move your agenda
and
forward.
if I ever have in the past, I'm sorry. I don't know.
We're all human.
But from here on in, you know, absolutely. Like I told you, like the other day, I intend for everyone who has known me to be better for it, like to leave a good feeling, and that's inspiration. And I'm lucky. I feel really blessed to have found my thing, because I followed my heart, and now I can communicate in a way that makes me a guide. I'm being invited, because when you watch the video, it's an invitation into your home and into. So it's an invitation, and I get to just share.
Right.
So it's quite perfect.
Yes.
And I see, especially in the kitchen, I know efficient ways to make raw food and efficient ways to cook, and to it's like my little ways are so they're efficient. Like I have reasons for doing what I do, and I've been able to share that.
So systems people.
Systems.
Yeah.
It's systems in the kitchen. Yeah.
100%. But
And
again,
travel and whatever.
you
all of
wouldn't
it.
be good at systems if it was computers because you just don't care about computers.
No.
So it's about
I care about travel. I care about what's like the suitcase is like, what the kitchen's like, what relationships are like
the feng shui of the home and
Yeah.
the feeling of a home and
yeah, that's my thing.
Yes.
So I'm so glad we got
projector
to.
living had designed.
It's so
It's
fun.
true.
Yeah, I hope to be even more. I hope to decondition more. I want to know more. I want us to do readings. I want to learn more, and it's inspirational. So we finally got to do this,
I know.
right?
I'm so
I think there's going to be
happy.
more. I know they're going to have questions.
Yes.
So we'll bring Jenna back for now. Is that
Yes.
good? Or we?
I think so. We went a lot more in depth than we did last time about the energy types.
We did go more in depth, and then maybe another time we'll talk about another aspect of it. There's so much to it.
I mean, there's so much to
Relationship,
it.
split definition. Are you
Yes.
this? Are you that? Like you
Who's
can-
the MVP? Like we were talking about, who to listen to inside your body.
That's
like
a
your
big
voice
one.
is
Like we might need to shut down, come
Yes.
back tomorrow because
Yes.
how to make decisions is just as important as knowing who you are,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Those are the two
I'm gonna
biggies.
put your email below. They can
Okay.
contact you
Great.
for a reading,
Yes.
and we love you guys. Seriously, it's about love, right?
Yes.
To get
And
to-
this is just a tool, another tool.
It's
to add
just
to the
another tool.
toolbox.
It's not something to live by. Like you're like.
No.
It's just another tool.
It's
That's
another
so good
tool.
that you said that.
We're just getting there with like all the different tools we have in our
Meditation
toolbox.
and yoga and dancing and laughing and raw food and love and connection
Yes.
and this happens to
It's
be
all
a
good.
really another
Just a good
really
add-on.
one. It's a good
That's
add-on.
it.
I love you, Jenna.
I love you.